My name is Pirira Chibwana.
My name is Saul Mateyu.
Ministry started with just 10 children, providing them with 2 slices of bread and a cup of tea. That's the origin. God has been growing the ministry in terms of a number of children that can be cared for. And so from 10, we jumped to 35, from 35 to 70. We have just stepped out of faith. We haven't had enough resources to say, now we have resources, let's add 10 more kids, let's add 10 more. No, we just look at those opportunities as the Lord opens those doors, and by faith we're just stepping forward. And then we have found God to be faithful in providing for the needs that we have had. And so just that exponential growth, caring for orphans. And so we come and just help them, educate them, sending them to school. You will be surprised. In the primary school where school uniform is required, the school uniform costs probably $3. And that would keep a child from school. A child would not go to school and drop out of school because hasn't been able to raise that kind of money to buy a school uniform. And for orphans, it's worse. And we say, we're gonna help you so that we can keep you in school. Kids that have been supported and have gone through primary, secondary school, and through to college. Some have come back to serve with us. One guy is almost graduating from medical school. You know, the joys that we can visibly see. We have planted a seed. Some are growing in their walk with the Lord. Some are still on the way and struggling. We're still praying for them. So we want them to grow into disciples of Christ.
We get encouraged with these stories. They just need someone to come along and sort of grab them and provide. So we have a lot of needed children that we are not able to sort of bring in the program because of limited resources. And so, you know, every day we have people coming to the Passion Center asking, you know, for help and showing us kids that are needy. And sometimes we cannot do them. We just we'll put them on hold. We will see, you know, if you're able to. So we are always, you know, limited. Even with the kids that are already in the program, the budget for education keeps rising every time. So when we take a child in, we sort of make a commitment that we'll see them through all the way as far as they can go. Our goal is to sort of expand it to as many villages as possible, because we've seen it working in the communities that we're working, so many transformation happening and the gospel shared, so many people that have come to the Lord through the ministry. The huge need, one created by the levels of poverty. The poverty levels is just so high everywhere that we go. And so that alone obviously creates huge needs. And then you add to that the fact that you're an orphan. Constantly a lot of people come and asking for help. We do these assessments, so we go in the villages, see, and when we do the assessments, we sort of have to prioritize, you know. So we do assessments of like 10 kids or 10 families, but then maybe at the moment we can only take in 2. It means we have to leave the other 8 out, and that's not a small thing. I mean, we cannot help everyone at the same time. We would love to help all the orphans, but we have to say the most needy. I mean, the most needy. So that's where the sort of struggle is. We say no to this one, it's so needy, but then we already took in these ones, and we want to make sure that they go all the way, you know. So would rather just go, come, but you have tight budgets, especially on education. And sometimes that makes it so hard. I mean, most of the time it makes it so hard.
It's not easy to turn people away, emotionally breaking you down, emotional breakdown. I remember many times that, you know, I would have to turn people down, and now thinking about the reality of what is going to happen after that turn down. And you know, you would see that kid going, you know, back on the street, and life is going to probably end there. And so knowing what is possible, knowing the reality hits you hard. And then you'd have to trust God, that God would do what God can do. Yeah, it's tough in terms of, you're thinking of others that needs to come in. But if even tough, thinking about those that you already have, and you don't have the resources to kind of meet your commitments. And so you would fall short probably in a month. And you'd have to say, okay, so just go to school. We're trusting God. We're going to provide for your school fees. And then we have seen God coming through when we're like, we are done. We are falling short $5,000. And then a week later, God just provided what we need. And so that is kind of what has kept us afloat. Our faith has been kept afloat by just seeing God coming through when we needed Him most.
So our mission statement is to join God in rescuing, redeeming, and restoring orphans and their communities. So the first part says to join God. So our understanding of what we're doing is that it's God doing. The way God does it is that He calls people that are faithful, that are sort of the same heartbeat of God, for Him to use them to do what God wants to do. But we know this is God's work, and it's a privilege for me to be able to be used of God. And so what I'm doing, whatever I'm doing, first and foremost, I'm looking at, is this pleasing to God? And if I feel like it's pleasing to God, so the resources may not be there, but I'll do whatever I can do. Because God has said, if you don't worship Him, He can raise even stones. For me, it's really a privilege, and I don't think that I've any excuse not to do what He wants me to do.
It's mostly driven by a passion for God to get the glory, for He created everything for His own glory. And so pretty much our passion is just to see God's name get the glory. And we know that God gets the glory as souls are being added into His kingdom. They are made the worshippers of God. Hallowed be Thy name, Thy kingdom come. And so we know that this is what God desires. He wants His kingdom to be established. And obviously we are looking forward to a day when He returns and He is going to sit on that throne in Jerusalem and establish His millennial kingdom. But while we're looking forward to that, He's really needing or wanting to establish His kingdom in our hearts. And so this is kind of what drives the ministry, to see that God gets the glory as His kingdom is being established in the hearts of men.